hollame.com. If you're listening and you want to call in today, I'm telling you, it's going down. Listen, get your pens and paper ready right now. Pull out your phone, go to your notebook in your phone or your tablet. Write this number down: 614-577-1434. 614-577-1434. And if you want to if you want to text message us, you can use the number 614-377-4592. I'm gonna get right into it. I'm geek today. I'm really geek because tonight we talking something I really know: parenting and persevering through the problems of parenting. I mean, many people. There's many parents out there, and there's many people that want to be parents and become parents one day. There are challenges, and so tonight I just want to talk about what are the challenges or the greatest challenges or the greatest difficulties of the greatest difficulties of being a parent and raising children, and what motivates you not to give up. And so I know, me and my boy Maurice Good. Look, we going in tonight. What you think, Mo?
I love the topic.
Hey, and you know what? I'm glad to be back live. I had to take a little fishing trip last week, and and we just had some fun, me and the guys. But I'm back tonight, Maurice. I know you. Listen, man, it's on. What do you think about this? Persevering through the problems of parenting. Is it a problem being a parent? Are there problems?
I know it's a challenge. I think it's a huge challenge, and it's more of a challenge for some than there is for others. So, from a single parent perspective, from that person who has to burden the load by themselves, it's tough, especially if they have multiple children and it's just them. So I think it's more of a challenge for some than it is for others. But even two-parent households, parenting is a challenge because there's so many different factors that you have to factor in. There's so many different variables that you have to factor in because you can't be around your child 24/7. So even children who come from two-parent households, those parents are keeping their fingers crossed, hoping that their children are leaving the door with the ammunition that they're giving their children so that they can come back, and not make any hasty decisions that could alter their life forever.
Wow. This is like you said, there's many variables to this equation. And when I think about it, for me, I have 5 children at home, 4 of which are biological, and it's I don't want to say it's difficult, but all my children have different personalities. I mean that right there, that's a challenge right there. I mean, one and but the beauty of it is that all of my children have some reflection of me. They have some part of me that they exhibit. Likewise with their mother. I mean, so like I have one of my children, and I love her to death. That her nickname, I call her Wonka Wonka. 'Cause I nickname all my kids. I nickname they don't even like me saying, and I baby them. But however, she's one of she don't need people. She's kind of very introverted. She doesn't want to really connect with people. She has good ideas. She's getting older. She's going to graduate from the 8th grade to the 9th grade, and I'm like, wow, I don't like that you're getting big. The older they get, the less they want to give you kisses. Um, you know, but she's at a place now that I'm watching her grow, and she's starting to find her niche in terms of her in her youthfulness, if you will. And by her being so introverted, sometimes she doesn't need the energy from other people to be happy. She could have a tablet or be on the internet or pick up a book. She really likes to read, and she can sit there and read all day, and you won't even know she's there. But then my youngest child, she's the life of the party. I mean, she's running around telling jokes, talking about people's mamas. I mean, she, I mean, she's only 7, so I call her my baby. And then and so then you have my other middle child, which is 9, and she just kind of she can go to the extremes both ways. I mean, she loves people, but then at the same time don't make her mad. So it's like dealing with the different personalities. My oldest child, she kind of to me take after her mother a little more than me, but I still love her. And but she's a clown. She's a class clown. I had her in a meeting this weekend, and I'm like, she's clowning too much. But then I had to look at myself and say, whoa, wait a minute. When I was in school, I was always the class clown too. And so just watching my kids exhibit different parts of me and their mother, and so the problems, because you have problems through health problems, right? You have problems because you always want your children to be feel safe. Like what I don't like my kids going off my street because I want I don't know I know they got to grow up one day and some people say you shelter your kids, but man, I still kind of live in the hood a little bit, and I don't like kids picking with my kids or my children. I don't want my kids coming back crying because that puts me in a situation.
That's right. That's right.
So I think one of those problems is you want the best for your children. You want them to feel safe, and you give them all you can to the best of your ability and knowledge and wisdom. And sometimes they don't use what you showed them, or because you think hey, this is what you should do, but they don't always operate in that mindset. So they gotta kind of fall sometimes. So I don't know. I mean, I know you got some stuff you thinking of, but those are some of the problems of parenting for me is the safety issue and the issue of you want them to succeed and not make your mistakes.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, you want to be that parent. You're going for without getting the accolade. You're going for Dad of the Year. You're going for Mom of the Year. You just want to be that parent. And it's tough. It's tough because again, society, peer pressure. And so like I have a conversation with my mom every Saturday or Sunday. We talk, and this weekend we was just talking about how there's certain life lessons, you know, that your children is just going to go through. But if the value system is there, if the values are deeply rooted, even when they go astray, they will come back around because the value system is so deeply rooted that they understand that even when they're making decisions that isn't positive in the eye of their parents, they understand that they can't go but so far from those boundaries, and then they eventually come back around, and that's what it is. It's just like, these young people, like I guess with every generation of young people, they have their own minefields, their own landmines that they have to navigate through, without getting blown up. Because, some decisions, all it takes is one. You get in the back seat of that stolen car, and you may not never make it home. You know, so in some situations, all it takes is one bad decision, and in some situations, you made that bad decision, but you get to live enough to see another day, and you and your friends, 20 years later, 30 years later, laughing about, do you believe we did that? At the same time, you hoping that your parents never find out about it.
Wow, wow. And for me, like this topic kind of came about, uh, talking, really wanted to speak out to parents that that want to give up some time. I mean, because the pressure, the financial pressure. I mean, there's pressure being a parent. Paying the bills, making sure everybody is accounted for, making sure clothes are washed and clothes are clean and meals are prepped out. Yeah, I try to get one of my harder things, and maybe you can help me with this is, and I don't know if I ever be able to do this, but sometime I try to get my children, or at least tell them and share with them how different aspects of my childhood, and that they should always be grateful, because one of the things from as a parent, I tried my best to not allow my children to go through what I went through. Number one, I mean, this whole show deals with fatherlessness, and I have to be the father, the dad that's there. I gotta be the dude that's there. I couldn't see myself ever walking away from my children. It just, I don't know, they mean the world to me, and so I try to let them know, the way I grew up. I grew up in a drug and alcohol infested home. Our house was filled with roaches and things like that, and you don't have none of that. I said my mother didn't even have a vehicle that transportation. When we took transportation, we had to take public transportation to get to where we needed to go, if we had enough funds to get on public transportation. So I'm like, you having full course meals with leftovers. I had to get on my kids one day. I told my wife, I said, what are you cooking? We got leftovers. Yeah, I'm like, we don't want that. I'm like, you don't want that. That Are you serious? We would have, man, we would have fought over some leftovers. So, I'm glad helping to make it better, but at the same time, trying to figure out that way to get them to appreciate it without force feeding them, saying you gotta appreciate this. One time I sat my children down and I said, you must understand that having both parents is rare in in our community. And when you look at your school, how many of your friends or associates or confidants, comrades, constituents, whatever, how many of them have both parents in the home that's supporting, that's there, taking you to practices, picking you up from rehearsals, at your recitals, you know, so them not appreciating sometimes for me is like, I mean, I have to swallow it, but sometimes I'm like, man, am I doing too much, or should I pull back? But I haven't stopped, doing what I need to do. But sometimes I just think like, wow, they really don't have a clue how bad it was for their father.
But that just speaks to who you are as dad and as the man of your home.
Hmm.
That you handle the business so much that they have no clue of how it could be. And that speaks to the God in you.
Right.
You know, so I mean, I go through the same thing with my 6 year old. I'm this kid. He's in situations that I couldn't even comprehend. You know, as a 6 year old, he's a stock owner.
Wow.
So,
What?
he's a stock owner. He has savings bonds and all of this stuff, and he's had this since he was old enough to get a social security card. Because that's all it took for me to be able to set this stuff up for him was a social security card. And I think, and so there's times when I call him, from work or wherever, and I'm like, and he's like, Dad, I don't want to talk right now. And I'm busy. And I'm like, busy? Like, so I definitely understand. I definitely understand.
And I think it's another challenge for me, and Now Mo, I know we both grew up similar in similar environments when grown folks talk, you close your mouth. And one of the things that kind of bother me um, is it's a different world now, but we didn't have the luxury of like challenging our parents. You know, hey, I don't want to eat this. I don't want that. We didn't have that luxury. And so when I look at some of these, we kind of started some dialogue today on Facebook. Somebody, if I may, her name is Monica Dockery, one of my sisters, a big sister to me. She said, let me be the first to comment. It's very challenging to just keep them alive and safe after they're grown. But as children, you want them to grow up being respectful, successful, and to recognize that they are children of God. The motivation comes naturally from the moment that you conceive. So I mean, so people have different, you know, she must have grown children.
But
We got somebody trying to call, and let's see what's going on here. Yo, holla at me.
Yo, what's up?
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. Who am I talking to?
Angel Lindsay.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. What's on your heart? Thanks for calling in, by the way.
You're welcome. No problem. I was just reading the topic and listening a little bit about it and just was calling in and getting my feedback about parenting.
Give us the business.
Well, I have a child. He's 17.
Okay.
I'm a single parent. It's a challenge because raising a son is very hard for me because he's a knucklehead. He wanted to get out here and be in these streets, wanted to leave school. So there are times I had to leave my job to go track him down because he's a type 1 diabetic.
Wow.
So when I get a call from the nurse that he didn't take his insulin, I'm frantic. Like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking the worst. Where is he at? He could be passed out somewhere. What am I going to do? There's so many missing person reports out for him. And it resulted to the end that he now locked up with his CCW.
Oh, wow.
So I tried my best to keep him out of the system. But it seemed like that for him to learn that from when I grew up, I didn't want a need for anything, even though I grew up in poverty in the hood. So I tried to show him the same thing with him being the only child. That he didn't want or need for nothing. I worked, had 2 jobs. He dressed nice sneakers, everything. He asked for it. And he still wanted to be out here like he didn't have nothing, like he just wanted to. I don't know what influenced him to be out in the streets because I was never a street person.
Wow. Mo, I know you right there, man.
sis, what I would like to say to you is you just basically told my story. Single, only child. Mom worked from 7 in the morning, didn't get home until like 1, 2 in the next morning, pulling them hours in, did the best that she could. And I still want to strip. But what I will say to you is that, sometimes we just have to learn through experience. But those values that you instilled in him, those values are still there. It's just that he's in a place where he's trying to find himself. And so that's the information that I like to always offer, especially moms, is that mom understand that he's a young man of color. And so there's certain things that he's going through, just like you're going through when you went through as a young woman of color, right? And so he's trying to navigate those systems, because since he was probably maybe 12 years old, there are certain people who looked at him and saw a threat. And so how do you deal with that, right? And especially if you don't have a male figure in your life to help you navigate that. I had some none of them were dad. And so it's like, I hear you trying to preach to me and all of those things. So I'll just say to you, just be patient, and I know you're tired. Trust me, I know you're tired because my mom did 2 bids with me and she was right beside me when I was laying on my deathbed in that hospital with a hole in my heart from somebody stabbing. And she was tired. I know, and so I know you're tired, but I'm gonna say to you, it's going to turn around because he's gonna get things going. That light bulb is gonna turn on, and all those things that you've been saying to him is finally going to make sense.
Wow. One of the things I like to offer, and we went to high school together, right? We went to high
Yes,
school.
we did.
Yeah. I was perfect in school. One of the things that I know about mothers, and I'm not a mom, far from it, would never be, is a lot of mothers blame themselves. My mother, she blamed herself for a lot of the things that decisions we made. We made decisions based off of our choices and what we wanted to do. And so mothers do all these different things to instill good values and morals and ethical views and so forth in their children. Then when they go and do something on their own, like Maurice Good was saying, because they're trying to find themselves, mothers take that to heart. And I believe when my mother passed away, she was really stressed out and felt like it was her fault. In fact, I want to say the week my mother passed away, we had a conversation. I didn't know she was dying, but she said, she said, Mikey. Now none of y'all call me Mikey when y'all see me. She said, Mikey. She said, do you forgive me? And I was like, whoa. Because at this point in my mother's life, she was free. She was like 10, 12 years free from drugs. She had her own cleaning company. She was in church. She sung in the choir. She was an usher. She was a mentor to people that was on their first through their like fifth or sixth step. And I said, Mom, you the mother that I always wanted. I said, to me, you perfect. It was never you. It was me. And sometimes I think you can help yourself and take some of that weight off and that pressure and say, I'm gonna be there for my boy. He made that decision, but I'm gonna still be there to try to help guide him.
Oh, most definitely. I'm never going to leave his side.
Oh.
Like, never. I'm always going to be there. And I think now he's understanding now because now when I talk to him and I go see him, he go, Mom, I'm sorry. I'm going to get together and you don't have to work no more. I'm going to take care of you. Your job is to do what I tell you to do. You got to be 18
Wow.
to take care of your health. You need to take care of yourself. And I'm going to be your mom. I'm always going to take care of you. So just get your life together and show me what you can do for me is prove to me that you can make something of yourself. I gave up a basketball scholarship to take care of you.
Wow.
So show me that what I'm doing is right and that I sacrificed a lot to take care of you as a mother by myself without no help.
Wow.
So, Mom, can I say something to you? And I had this conversation with my own mom about my 6-year-old son and how, moms, no matter how old we get, we're your baby, right? And so sometimes, we don't want to be a baby. We want you to see us as the man that we think we are.
Hold up, Mo. What did you say?
We we see, so we don't want you to see us as babies. We want you to see us as the men that we think we are, and that we're not. Moms know that, he's not a man yet. But in our mind, you can't tell us that we're not a man. We got a few strings of hair on our face. We got some strings somewhere else. We're doing adult things. And so in our mind, I'm a man. Why can't you recognize that I'm a man, and so um, what you have to do, mom, is give him some space, right? Give him some space, and I know that's tough. It's real tough, given the fact that so many of our young men, our young males, are they finding themselves in really deep trouble, and no mother wants to bury her child. No
Wow.
mother wants that. And so I understand why mothers hold on so tight. But the more you hold on, the tighter you get, the more he's trying to get away.
Wow.
And that's funny that you say that because the person I was with at the time was the only father figure that he knew. So he's tried to step up and talk to him, and he told me the same thing. He was the one who influenced me to let him go with his friends and let him go hang out with his friends. And I told him if he would have just let me continue doing what I was doing, maybe he wouldn't be been hanging out in the street.
Hmm.
He was going to hang out in the street regardless, man. Whether it was just a matter of whether or not he had your approval. But he was, because think about it. We get to a certain stage in life, and as parents, all we can do is advise. Because basically, what are you going to do? If he's 18 years old, so, you can't spank him. I mean, you can try, but what good is that going to do? And so, like, at a certain age, as a parent, all we can do is advise our children to make the best decisions possible. But when they got their minds made up, they're going to do what they're going to do. And so you got to keep them uplifted. You got to keep them lifted in prayer. And you just got to, because people said to me, your mother must have been a prayer warrior. And when I was younger, I had no clue what that meant. And wasn't until later on, did I realize what that meant. And that's what you have to do. You have to just keep him lifted in prayer, ask God to, shield him from harm and danger, shield him from people who can do him harm, and understand that you can only take him for so far. But, his father, and when I say his father, I'm talking about God,
Right.
that God keeps him covered.
Wow. So Angel, so what would you say to mothers out there that may be dealing with something similar? Like, what would you say to a mother that may be in the first stage of or second stage before their son, actually goes to jail? Like, what would you say to them?
I would tell them to never give up, to seek the help through the community, to wherever resources they can go through to just try to get some guidance to see what they can do, just so they don't get to the point where they were just willing just to throw in the towel and just leave them out there like forget it. Just find the motivation in the wheels is to say, you know what, no matter what, I'm just going to be there regardless of how hard it is, because you don't have a rule book on how to take care of your kids. I only have one, so I can't speak for someone who has multiple. That may be a different situation. But no, never give up, but just always find somebody that you can talk to that can help you and be like, you know what, don't give up, you can do it. Maybe you can try this, maybe you can try that, maybe you can take them here to show them, take them to the homeless shelter, because I didn't even did that. I took him to a lot of places to show him, but just don't give up. Just keep your head high. Know that the man upstairs will never give you more than what you can handle. You got to stay strong.
Amen. That's good. That's rich. So I don't know if you have anything closing, but I really appreciate you for calling in, and that was real powerful. And we most definitely keep your son. What's his name? You don't gotta give his last name, but so I can
Oh, his
just
name is Demetrius.
okay. So I most definitely keep him lifted,
Absolutely.
because there's a lot of young men out there, and there's mothers. I know there's mothers listening now that wish their son had a mentor, that wish their son had their father or somebody there to help them when you go to work, you working two jobs. Mothers working 2, 3 jobs to pay the bills and to supply the needs of the house and even the children or child. And then boom, the moment you leave, child left to his or her own devices. And that's where the challenge comes in because now they got to make decisions. And we don't always make the best decisions. I mean, while we was actually in school, I was homeless. My junior and senior year. So I was coming to school homeless.
What?
Yeah.
But I
But
never knew that either.
yeah.
You did a great job, guys. Too. I give that to you. You did a great job.
Oh, you don't make me cry.
You
Uh,
did. I ain't gonna hate you. Did a great job, and I'm proud of where you at right now.
oh,
Maybe a lot of people that we went to school with can see that.
wow. I most definitely. I'm excited though, right? I'm excited about this movement, right, Mo? Um, this movement, and
Sir.
you guys actually encourage me because my schedule started getting so busy. I'm like, can I keep holler at me up? And I told the owner of the company today, I was like, I don't know, but let me pray about it. And then having this conversation right here, God reminded me that I'm on assignment.
That's right.
And what do you do when you're on assignment? You walking in purpose, and your power is in your purpose. And so,
Always.
goodness, and so we go through hard stuff, and your son will learn. He will learn, and he will overcome, and just continue to be who you are, steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. So I really appreciate you. You can call in anytime you want. You can inbox me, let me know how your son is doing, and we most definitely will be praying for him.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, and I sure will.
All right. God bless you. Love you, sis.
Love you too, and God bless you too.
All right.
All right.
Mo. Whoo, that was powerful.
That was powerful.
Wow. Come on, man. I know what's on your mind.
And that's and the thing is, what Sister shared with us, just know that there are millions, and that's no exaggeration. There are millions of moms who are experiencing what that sister is experiencing. How crazy is that? Because think about it. There are 2.5 to 3 million people in prison. Of that, 2 million are people of color. So, and then you think about all of the mothers who have lost sons and daughters to death. So we're really talking about millions who can actually identify with that system.
Wow. And that's tough. I mean, that's tough. Mo, some years ago, I, wow, we got somebody calling in. Holla at me.
How's it going, brother?
Good, good. How you doing? Who I got on the line with me?
This is Brother Will.
Okay, how you doing? What's going on, Brother Will?
Not much, man. I'm feeling very blessed on my way to work right now. I just tuned in to the show.
Wow. What's on your heart? I know you got something to tell us.
Yeah, man. Like I was saying on the message on Facebook, as far as the challenges and things that we go through, as far as parenting goes, me myself, I have a lot of challenges, but my main one is basically trying to keep my children on the right track. Because, like I was saying today, with the influences around, you got to be careful about who and what you put your children around. You know what I mean? You got to stay constantly prayed up, pray above them, and try to teach them to be leaders. That's what I try to instill in them. It's good to be different. Don't follow the crowd.
Wow. 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 Yeah, yeah. I mean that and trust me, that's a challenge in itself is, really you know, I think you know what one thing I learned, and I don't know if this will help anybody, and this is of my limited life and the wisdom that I have, the limited level of wisdom I have. But one thing, and if I don't say nothing else that makes sense on this show tonight, I feel like I got something right here. I try my best to teach my children about the crowds.
Right.
You know, a crowd is this. You know that's the kind of paradigm they have over here. Over here, the B crowd. You know they. Hey, listen. If you fall up in this crowd, I mean, chances are, you may come up against this. Um, but I really try to push in my kids' education. Your grades is your money. Your grades is your money. Your grades is your money. Your network is your net worth, and really pursuing a strong education and being a good person and treat people like you want to be treated.
Yeah.
And people, if they don't treat you the way you like to be treated and the way you treat others, then those are people you don't need to be around.
Exactly. You know what my new thing is sitting my son down and talking to him about the power of his last
Oh, come on, man. Go ahead. Go. Come on, Mo.
name. That's my new thing now. Is helping him to understand the legacy of and the shoulders that he stand on as a result of that last name.
Wow.
So, and he's 6, and so he don't fully get it. But this is where I plant the seed, and then it's my job to be consistent in the message. So it's being consistent and having that conversation with him. Like, what does that last name mean to you? Yeah, I know I know you know it. You know how to repeat it, but do you truly know what that last name means to this family? And so like that's what God willing, that's what I plan to continue to instill in him and ask him that question. Like, when you leave out this door, right? Are you going to add value to that last name when you come back in the door? Or are you going to devalue and disrespect that last name to the point that when somebody else walks out this door, people are looking at us with shame and shaking their head?
Ooh. Wow.
That's deep.
Wow. Brother Will, what you, I know you, come on, Brother Will, I'm going to give you, come on, Brother Will, you didn't call in for nothing.
Yeah, I like that. That's real deep right there, because that last name means a lot. Representation for the family means a lot. Whoa, that was real good wisdom right there. Yeah, as far as that goes,
the power of the last
yeah,
name.
I like my kids to be represent themselves in the best manner as possible. Because, like you said, when you leave out that door, you're representing not just yourself, but us as a whole. So when you go out there disrespecting other adults or other peers, for that matter, however you represent yourself is representing this family, and you got to represent that family to the utmost. And that's respecting your elders, carrying yourself in the right manner, values and stuff that our grandmothers put upon us. Somewhere in the line that got lost. Because I see teens these days.
Brother Will, you messing me up now. Cause you went back to grandmother's. I'm sorry, you just hit me when you said going back to grandma. That hit me in the heart. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I just said that hit me in the heart.
Yeah, I mean, you know how grandmothers, what they instilled in you, boy, you gonna pull them pants up, you gonna behave in public. Nowadays I don't see that. I think parents have gotten soft. Yeah, parents have gotten soft.
No, I don't think they heard you. I don't think
it's not brought in the household as much as it needs to be.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm raising my nephew, and I hope my sister is not listening. But he was kind of having some challenges in school that caused him to get in some trouble. And so the way I was raised, if you did something wrong, you got a spanking. I'm using nice words. But you got whooped, you got beat. It depends on what mood mama was in.
Got beat.
Yeah, you go get your own switch. And went out a long walk. And
Top of the punishment.
So I tried like the different punishments. I spanked him a few times, but I don't want to, I got problems, so I don't want to like, hurt him. So I said, you know what? One day I was cutting his hair because I cut his hair, and I said, I said, you know what? This about to be your punishment. And he went to school with a haircut for 2 days. He did not like, and and I know some people was looking at me like you crazy, da da da. But I got to do something psychologically that's gonna make sense.
Yes.
And
punishment, you're not allowed certain things. It's called a punishment for a reason.
Yeah.
Everybody has to be on one accord, especially when you're raising a family. Everybody has to be on one accord when it comes to punishment, because I can't be on a certain type of punishment and then I leave. As soon as I turn my back, they back playing video games or everybody jumping and running around. You know what I mean? Then that becomes I'm the bad guy.
Brother Will, before I let you go, I gotta ask you a tough question. And it may sound simple, but I gotta ask you a question because you represent millions and millions of men out there.
Yes, sir.
What's keeping you from giving up?
Oh, man. What's keeping me from giving up? Man, like I said, just like you just said, I represent for millions of young black men up there, man. I can't give up, man. So many people are relying on me. I know I can't change the whole world, but I could change at least one mind. I may spark that one mind that can help change the world, man. And if I give up, I'm encouraging somebody else that's looking up to me to give up. You know what I mean? I'm showing them that it's cool to give up. I want somebody to look at me and be like, man, Brother Will, I know everything that he done been through, that dude always kept it pushing. I want to be that motivation, that inspiration to whoever God allowed me to,
Wow.
I'm here, bro.
Wow. Brother Will, I appreciate you for calling in, man. Man, God bless you, man. Thank you for calling in. It's powerful.
Hey, man, thanks a lot for having me, man.
Yes, sir.
Anytime. Peace.
Mo.
Yes, sir.
Man, I always got to go back to you by default because I can feel the bubbling, and I'm looking at you. Wow, we got another caller. Holla at me. Holla at me.
Hey, this is Latina, and I'm calling in. I wanted to get in the midst of this conversation.
This is who?
Latina.
Okay, how you doing?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
Good. What's going on?
Oh, man, I'm just trying to figure out how to co-parent when you have boys and you've been so used to living under a mother, a single mother and a single parent, and you have views that's different compared to when you're co-parenting with their father. You know what I'm saying? That's where, as a mother, I'm trying to figure out how do you come together with this male that's very strong and very, proud to be who he is, and you're so used to being an independent woman, and I'm trying to learn how to tone that down so that I can understand and grasp the concept of how to raise men, little boys, to be men, and how to really, I don't know how to say it, but how to.
You saying it right.
How to orchestrate a family when you're so used to being brought up by a single, strong mother, and so many women in our family, and it gets so confusing sometimes, and I'm just like, ooh, I want him to be so proud of who he is as a young man, but I want him to be strong, and I want him to be God-fearing, I want him to look up to his father and see, hey, my dad is doing the best he can do, but also he's a man of God too, and he loves God, and he understands that there are some walks that there's some paths that you have to walk, and you have to stay directly on that path. But as a woman, as a mother, it's difficult for me to really grasp that. We're so used to saying, hey, I'm a single mom, and that's not an accolade. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking that's something to be so happy about it.
Hold
And
on,
even though you should be proud.
what did you just say? You said being a single mom is not an accolade?
Well, it is. It is to a certain extent. Because me as a woman, I can't raise our son to be the man that he needs to be. And instilling him how a man should walk, how a man should talk, how a man should be not egotistical, but being proud of who he is and who he comes from. But I never understood that because I've always been around women. So now I have nephews and my son, and we're trying to raise them. But now it gets lost because I'm a woman and there's so many women around, and that's the problem where I feel like, yes, being a single mother is something that's very beautiful and something that, you know, you should be proud of. But I want to understand how to co-parent and understand how to tone it down. Sometimes I understand that the man should should lead our son, and sometimes that get lost. I know a lot of women that always say, you know, I've been doing this for so long. How this man gonna come in and tell my son how to be a man? And I've been doing it, but then I start realizing, like, hey, you know, there's something that he can do that I can't.
Wow, I'm about to release the crackle on you. I want you to get your paper and pen, and I know there's other mothers out there, but this right here, you done hit so. Hey, Mo, I'm releasing you. You are released. Come on.
Oh man, I mean, the sister said a lot, and I do a lot of work with single moms as a way to pay it forward, but also as a way to apologize to my own mother.
Hold on, what? Hold on. No, I want Mo. If you don't stop right there, no, I'm sorry, but say that again.
You know, I caused my mother a lot of pain and grief, and I know I could never repay her. So what I do is I pay it forward by doing a lot of work with single moms to help them to almost be like an interpreter of the black male, right? Because truth be told, mom, y'all need an interpreter because there's just certain things that you will never be able to understand why we do some of the things that we do. Because guess what? Some of the things that we do, we don't even understand why we do it. So we can't expect you to understand, and you can't hold yourself responsible for understanding something that we don't even understand. You know, I remember my mom used to ask me, well, why did you do that? I don't know. You know, and I was telling the honest to goodness truth. I did not know, but I was trying to figure it out. You know, and so then, you know, mom gets upset because now she's like, what do you mean you don't know?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to do something and you don't know what you're doing and why are you doing it? You know why you're doing it. But the truth be told, I didn't know why I was doing it. You know, and so again, mom, you there's certain things that you gotta, as Mike said, you gotta release yourself from. You know, you gotta release yourself from that guilt of, you know, not having all the answers for your children, especially for your male children. You know, there's certain things that we're gonna go through that you just can't understand. And so, like my work with a lot of single moms, I tell them, listen, your job is to raise your son to be the best human being possible. You can never raise him to be a man because you don't know what it's like to be a man. But what you can do is raise him to be a decent human being. And if you do that much, then men will come into his life and they will come and they will see promise. They will see potential and they will help him to develop that. You know, one of the things that I'm most proud of is that there are men who came into my life because they saw the potential and they never had alternative motives to be with my mother. There's some men who have never entered my home, but they took me to ball games and stuff like that. You know, that mentorship. If a real man sees that potential in your son, never have to worry about, is this man trying to get close to my son, because he's really trying to get close to me at night.
Wow. I got to chime in. That was powerful. Are you still there, sister?
I'm still here. I'm
oh,
still here.
Okay, you made a comment, and I'm paraphrasing, about kind of co-raising the child, right?
Right.
Now, several things that hit my mind, and this is, if you guys are in an actual relationship, or if you're not in a relationship, moreover, if you're in a relationship, there has to be conversation and transparent conversation about it. Not only that, but getting to know each other better.
Right.
Because that's like, the more you spend time with each other. One of my favorite basketball players was Magic Johnson. And the only way Magic Johnson knew how to throw no looks to James Worthy was to play together. They spent time together. They practiced together. They had the conversations. I can guarantee you, James Worthy, like, hey, I was open there, and I can almost guarantee you this again. This too. I mean, also is that Magic Johnson could have threw other passes to James Worthy, but he didn't know James Worthy that well yet. But the more time he spent with James, the more he trusted James with the ball. So there has to be conversation about each other, and knowing the more you know about each other's past and upbringing, the better you can kind of see, okay, where you fit in or what you don't like, or you can kind of say, well, I wasn't raised like that, so I'm not too familiar with that. Why? So you have to be open enough to ask the questions and have the real conversations and express yourself. And because one thing about women that I learned, especially my wife, I love you. I know you listening, honey. Don't get me. Make sure my plate is ready when I get home. But sometimes women hold it in. Uh-oh. I feel like preaching. When you kind of have an issue, women don't always have that conversation, like talking about it. And sometimes men are the other are that way as well. They just kind of just hold it in and not have those real conversations. But in order to raise those children, you got to be comfortable with having those conversations. Then from there, in my opinion, there a flow starts to take place.
Right.
Because you want to go from kind of you want to create your life to be an all-terrain type thing where you can go into any situation. And if you're not comfortable with something, then you got to tell him, not in front of the kids. Because the kids don't need to know how how you raising them. They don't need to know like the secrets. They need to, like, for me, I'm not gonna tell my kids what they gonna get for Christmas. Me and mom gonna know.
Yeah.
So, and this is a quick example, and I can move on. My wife, she grew up where her mother, she would say, "Hey, mom," her mom would say, "What do you want for Christmas?" "I want this, this, and this," and that was Christmas. When I grew up, we barely got Christmas anyway.
Right.
So I couldn't. It was no way my mom was gonna come to me and say, "So what you want?" We just got, when Christmas came, we were surprised at whatever we got, and we had to appreciate it.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, having those conversations, even if you're not together, there has to be mature adult conversations, and to create some type of bridge to where you speak in the same language across the board. Because if not, then the children will start playing each parent against the other.
Well, let me piggyback off what you said about having these conversations based on the past and trying to understand each other's past. See, in my situation, we've been together for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So this goes back to when our past wasn't the way it is now. We wasn't walking upright. We wasn't living a godly life. Even though I've been brought up in church, yeah, granted, but we weren't living that life. And my significant other, that wasn't a lifestyle that he was even familiar with, period. So when we were coming up together, we was in a reckless lifestyle. So a lot of stuff now hinders our conversation and our communication now. So now we can start off talking about something in a cool, kind manner and be an understanding to where it goes into a conversation where it's like, hey, like, well, if you don't like this, well, this is how I am, and this is how I am. You know, there is no understanding, and in the form of communication is broken. And then where a conversation started off with God in the midst, it's now where he's like backing up because now we're so loud and boisterous. We forgot about what God was trying to implement in our conversation. And I think that that's a problem when it comes to co-parenting our children. You know, how do we communicate and have understanding? Because the communication, it breaks all barriers. But if we don't have a good line of communication, it tears up everything. And the communication, it's just to a point where we still look and think about each other how we was in the past. However, God has moved us from that place. But for some reason, we are still holding on to those burdens that we carry and the sleepless night. You know what I'm saying? And it carries over. So when I say, hey, I want to teach my son how to be a man, a strong man, and a godly man, it's difficult because things that he agrees with, I necessarily don't, and things that I agree with, he necessarily don't. Then it's a fight trying to figure out who's stronger with implementing certain things in the household. You know, who's right and who's wrong. Instead of, I understand your perspective, so now where do we go from here?
Wow.
So that is, and I see it in a lot of homes, especially a lot of my family homes. And I'll tell you what, the women outweighs the men 80 to 20. There's so many strong women. It's just like everybody's independent. So everybody's relationship has been hindered, broken up, and marriages have been become ended in divorces because the women are so strong. And then I'm like, God, I don't want to have a relationship where it ends like that, where my son has to come up and say, where is my father? Because mom's maybe too strong, or because dad doesn't understand mom's perspective. And it's difficult when my son, because we were just having a conversation with our son yesterday, and he looked at us both and he's like, Mom, I don't get it. Daddy, I don't get it. And I'm like, how do we communicate? If we can't communicate effectively with each other, how can we transfer that into our son?
Yeah, y'all most definitely. I would say, y'all need mentoring as a couple. I mean, I'm assuming y'all married. I would say some.
No, not yet.
Okay. Well, yeah, I would say most definitely some marriage counseling.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm a pastor, so I would say, you know, somebody may think I'm wrong here, but I would say spiritual and secular. You know, you need to get kind of both ends, in my opinion. Also, you know, because the Bible said, "How can two walk lest they agree?" And they leave the husband, the wife, and the husband leave their mother and cleave, and then two become one.
Right.
And so the two become one, not that the two are one. You don't ever start out as one. You become one. You bringing a pastor out of me, man. So, you know, at the end of the day, you most definitely, I would, if y'all can find somebody y'all both at least starting out, somebody that y'all both agree to talk to and sit down, that can give you their opinion and listening to y'all objectively.
Right.
That most definitely would be a powerful situation. And I'm saying this live on air. Oh my goodness, I don't want to get myself in trouble. But if you guys are in Columbus and you can't find anybody, just let me know, inbox me, and you know, we can make something happen, because you know, this is one of my big things, is seeing marriages and families stay together.
Yeah.
And if you guys aren't together, then how is everybody else gonna be together?
Absolutely. I definitely agree. That's definitely something we both agree with. Like, we have to understand that we have to have a home collectively together, but we have to we have to build a home. A home is, love and support, but it's also where it starts. We can't have a home here for our children. It's hard for them to go out and be respectful people and young citizens and doing good in school, and understanding that there's a level of respect that they should give to other people as well.
Right.
I definitely understand that. So,
wow.
For women, out here that are, have been brought up in homes where it's just women and they have their certain perspectives on how they feel things should go, what would you say? What kind of advice would you give them when it comes to understanding that the man has, because don't get me wrong, I understand that a man is a man first, and, women have to, calm down sometimes and give that man the opportunity to be that man. I do agree and understand that. But how do you implement it? How do you, calm yourself down and live like that?
This is one of those long conversations.
Right.
Let me give you the elevator pitch version that I do my best to live by, and I call them the 3 C's: commitment, communication, and consistency. Commitment, communication, and consistency. If you guys can't communicate, you won't get nothing done.
Yeah, no.
So you have to find a way to land in each other's frequency.
Right.
And that way you can hear and understand each other's language. In fact, I have an interpreter here in the on set with us, and he was just kind of sharing briefly about being an interpreter for a whole nother country.
Wow.
And so there has to be communication, and that language has to be interpreted. There's a great book. I think it's by Bill Hybel. I may be wrong, but understanding each other's love language.
Okay.
And I may have messed the title up, but Google it. It'll hit some kind of way. But I would say, right now, mentoring is one of the greatest things you can have. I think for me, I had good mentors, people I can go to now. If my wife make me mad, I make her mad, or just something isn't going right, I can get some advice. Because you got to talk to somebody that's been there,
Right, absolutely.
Because outside of that is theory. You know what I mean? And I was brought up in a single mother home, and I'm a man. You know what I mean? So just because you don't have a man in the house, if you got a strong mom, you still gonna become who you need to become.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes I think we put a lot of emphasis on, I'm trying to raise him to be a man and this and that. Just raise him to be the best person you can raise him to be, and let him find his manhood. Because inside of every man, there's a Simba.
Mm.
I slipped. So this is a long conversation, and we're about out of time, but I appreciate you. And like I said earlier, I would reach out to somebody that you can start getting out. Because before you say I do, y'all got too many issues.
Right.
you going in with too many issues. So you want to level a lot of that out and create some understanding and some trust. Because a lot of women, single mothers, don't trust because their heart has been broke. And let me get off because what I know about women, and I'm not a woman, but when a woman's heart is broke and the other guy got to pay for it, the next guy, excuse me.
Oh, right. So, right. I'm like, I try so hard not to allow that to interfere with the relationship you have. And not only that, but the lack of relationship that young women have growing up with their fathers plays a part in the relationship that they have with their significant other, or a lack thereof.
Wow. Yeah, you got a lot of stuff. Here's another book, The Grief Recovery Handbook by by Russell Friedman and John James.
Okay.
The Grief Recovery Handbook. And it one of the things they talk about, and I gotta go in a moment, is STIRBs, short term energy relieving behaviors. And STIRBs could be from lashing out to being a workaholic to isolation to being a shopaholic. When something reminds me of what I went through, I jump into my STIRBs.
Mm.
So
I definitely understand that.
So yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick elevator pitch version of that. And I really appreciate you for calling in. And I'm sure some other out there is listening and they heard this, and I'm glad you opened up, and most definitely we'll be praying for you and your family, that God continue to bless you and to open your minds and give y'all the wisdom, the peace, and the patience you need to grow.
Absolutely. We appreciate that.
All right. God bless you, sister.
God bless you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Woo! Maurice, good. I know we about to wrap this up, man, but I'm sorry, man. I don't know, man. What's going on with you, man, as we wrap up?
Oh man, it was such a beautiful show because it's the power. The power was in the messages. And so like and I'm so happy that like caller after caller after caller. You know, so it's like people identify with the message. People understand that hey, I'm not by myself, and I think that's the first thing that needs to happen in order for people to receive that healing. So, oh man, it was a beautiful show.
Wow. Because, the last sister, she said something, and the more she spoke, I mean, even right now, I'm thinking of stuff I should have said to her, could have said. And, but hurt people hurt people.
Yes, sir.
And like you said, like getting that emotional healing, because a lot of people, they get in church, they get saved, and they feel good. But then there's still a lot of emotional issue and emotional baggage, emotional um, things that really wasn't challenged or dealt with or confronted. So, and then the mother that had the son that went to jail, just all of these different issues. And I know there's an amalgam of issues that mothers and fathers, parents in general, deal with. And that's why we had to have this real talk about persevering through the problems of parenting and dealing with the greatest difficulties and challenges with raising children and keeping our motivation to not giving up on the seed that's coming from us, because in every seed there's a tree, in every seed there's a forest. Miles Monroe. So my prayers, man. Mo, I really appreciate you, man. You don't know how much you bless me, man. um when I get to New York this time, I gotta at least buy you dinner. um But man, listen, Holla at Me, man, is one of the top shows in America. Listen, tell your friends, tell whoever, tell them, listen, this is a real conversation we having, and people coming from the heart and saying, look, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm dealing with, and we actually are able to create a platform to deal with this issue of fatherlessness, and we taking it inch by inch. So I'm praying real quick. Father, I bless you and I thank you for your people. There's mothers and fathers listening out there that are dealing with issues in their own relationships and their own emotions that that is not really conducive to growth in their life. And Father, I just pray that you give them the strength to endure, give them the wisdom so they can manage, and give them the understanding and clarity so they can see. Some fathers lost his vision. Give him vision. And so, Lord, I thank you for your healing. I thank you for your power. And I give you the glory and the honor in Jesus' name. Amen. Hey, listen. Hey, listen. If you out there, and look, I don't even know why I'm doing this, but I'm closing now. If you out there and you don't have a church home and you need this kind of word on a weekly basis, Listen, go to powercitychurch.org. If you want to donate to this broadcast, go to powercitychurch.org. And listen, till next time, holla at me. God bless you. See you soon.